Well, I am so excited to have this opportunity for my own reality show. I got my co hosts and everything I'll be introducing you to in a minute, and I'm never going back to this place again. Well, for a while at least. So, this is the Gypsy Rose Show, and I am so glad you're here. Let me introduce you to my co hosts of the show. So, hey guys, what's up? Um, my name's Bria, of course. You guys know who I am because I'm constantly online supporting Gypsy because I just think she's the greatest thing in the fucking world. And I'll do anything for her. I'll probably do just as much as Nick Godejohn did for her because I'm fucking weird, you know. I'll do anything for her. I think I'm in love with her. To be quite honest with you guys, if you didn't know, I'm transgender and I'm in love with Gypsy Rose, you guys. Don't judge me, don't judge me. You should be able to tell. I'm Gypsy Rose's alter ego. So, you know, I'm like way more manipulative than she is, and I can get the dark side out of anybody. I bet when people look into my cross eye, they see it no matter what. And I'm a witch, and I'm gonna do some crazy spells on my hairs. Watch out, Nina. Watch out, Sir Morbid. Okay? This alter ego doesn't play with nobody, and Ryan better stay out of my DMs. I I said something to him, but that doesn't mean that he can respond. Doesn't mean he should say shit. Like, he should just leave it alone and let me say what I want to say and go about my business because now that me and Ken are through, I'm thinking about dating Bree. Hey y'all, it's Ryan. See, I got my purple jersey on today. I really like purple. It's a really nice color. Uh, I really like Gypsy's hair. I really think she's got a beautiful smile. She's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. And, you know, I guess I'm stuck with Pixie. I love her. I love her to death. She's my little baby. But, y'all, it really hurt my feelings when she showed me my messages, y'all. They just out of nowhere. They just came out of nowhere. It couldn't have been her that leaked them. They just got leaked. You know what, baby Aurora? You're gonna be an even better sacrifice than my mama was. Yeah, I believe so. I told Nick that you were all his soon as you were born. So, we've got my uneventful, tacky reality show coming out, and you're going to be here by then. I just can't wait till you're here. Ken got himself to run away, but you know what they said? Ruby's going to come out and find him. Anyway, baby Aurora, I just can't wait till you're here. You better not get in my way of nothing. I mean that. Anyway, hey guys, what's going on? Did you like my little skit in the beginning? I know that it took me a little bit of time. I was trying to come up with something good. So, here we are. But yesterday, oh, by the way, welcome to Mel, aka Baby Girl, or back to so glad you're here. I'm jumping ahead of myself. I always do that because I got ADD and I like to fly all over. So I love you guys and I'm so grateful that for all the subscribers I have. I'm really trying to reach my goal of the first 1,000. So I hope you guys can help me like, share, keep me in that algorithm, keep in the comments. And by the way, I am not trying to ignore you guys in the comments. I'm just new to getting a lot of comments. So I'm like, oh no, there's like so many more. And oh my gosh, there's so many more. So I got to go back on and start responding to everyone because I love having a community of people where we can talk about the same thing and share our traumas. Hell, whatever, you know. talk shit about Gypsy Rose. What is fucking better than that? Do you ever think that Gypsy Rose sits there and like pep talks her baby in her tummy, like, or lack thereof baby, or whatever the case may be? But, you know, before I jump into what I'm going to talk about today, I just had seen Flawless Nina's video, which, by the way, hey girl, I meant to get in her live yesterday. I totally was at my mom's. I help my mom with cooking sometimes and things because she's older. And I went there, and before I realized how late it was, I was like, you know, doing so much, and I just couldn't get on. So I really do apologize for not being in her live yesterday. But I did make it to Sir Morbid's for a little while. I don't know if any of you guys saw me there, but it was nice talking to everyone. And I got to figure out, I'm new to lives. Like, I've never really been in a live except for on TikTok a couple times. So it's like, I have to figure out how to even, like, ask to be up there, because I would really love to. I really would. To be on the live. I really would. I think it'd be an amazing thing to do. Because I really want to be a good advocate within this group of people, within this community. I want to be somebody that's credible, somebody that you guys can count on, but also to have a laugh with, you know? That's what I think it's all about. And I know that I came off kind of in the beginning to a couple videos, like, really intense, but y'all, I had not been able to get on my social media and talk about Gypsy Rose because I felt like I was, like, wrong for just jumping in a community for one thing and making a video in the middle of everybody else that's already doing it. I just felt like that's kind of wrong to do. You don't just jump into a community. But maybe you do. I don't know. I kind of did. And then this happened. And I'm really, really grateful. Like, really grateful. Because now I get to talk about the bitch I want to talk about. I know I shouldn't give her any clout. But holy fuck, man. You can only take so gosh darn much. You know what I'm saying? Here I am. I gotta calm down. Here we go again. Here we go again, Gypsy Rose. Also, yesterday, Swoop, I don't know if any of you guys know who Swoop is, but she covered a lot of the Colleen Ballinger case with Adam McIntyre and Johnny and, you know, Colleen and her ex and all that nonsense, right? That went on. That horrible shit that Colleen Ballinger did. Now, she covered a lot of that, and she did really in-depth, like, deep dives into that whole thing. So, when I saw that this is not even her first video on Gypsy Rose, the first video was, like, right after Gypsy Rose got out of prison, and so we were all kind of, like, in that limbo of trying to accept her, but not, like, before the research happened. So I figured that this next deep dive, though, that Swoop did would be really good. Because this is going to be, like, mainstream media knows about Swoop. So this is going to be revolutionary for our community of people. Because I figured that Swoop would have done her normal deep dive on this subject and would have given us what we needed to get into the mainstream media to be able to inform more people about the lies that Gypsy Rose is spreading. Okay? I feel like if we can make it out to the mainstream media somehow, we can start turning the narrative in the people that aren't constantly online, you know? Anyway, so I watched her video and I was very, very disappointed. But here's why. Her video on top of that with this next Gypsy Rose video, it was like almost 2 hours long. I obviously did not react to all of it. I picked bits and pieces. But once I got to this certain point, which you'll find out, I was done. I'm going to give you guys the timestamps too of around where I paused. You can kind of go back a little or go forward a little to see exactly what I was referring to. I'm sorry. I should have. But I'll put the clips in these videos of what I'm referring to as well in this video. But if you wanted to look at it yourself, it's a timestamp 32 minutes and 40 seconds. And the reason that it's up so high into the video is because, again, in the beginning of the fucking deep dive, she did a whole thing on the backstory of it again. So I didn't want to quite go over that all again when I know what the fuck's up, right? So anyways, 32:40. Now at this timestamp of Swoop's video, she's reading a comment from somebody from user RayMay7712. And Swoop has it on her screen, so I feel comfortable showing it on mine. So she goes over her struggles with autism. She explains to Swoop, I don't agree with her, but they are very trusting and naive. And that's a spectrum as well. Like, you can't pinpoint any autistic person and say exactly what their symptoms are. You just can't. I used to work with autistic children. You have to be a very special person to have the patience enough and love enough to take care of autistic children, especially when they're severe, right? She goes on to talk about how, yes, they're very honest, and usually, and they're especially like with, I believe that it is said that he's got on the spectrum of like towards Asperger's, I believe. I'm not going to be quoted as truth. I think that's what they said. With that, yes, they're very trusting, naive, very what it is that, and like his defense, mind you, claimed as well, which was very accurate, is that they don't quite understand the consequences of their actions, that especially being that Nick Godejohn was so much in love with Gypsy Rose, and she had coerced him that entire time for like a couple years. He was already groomed and ready for the project. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't clicking in his mind the consequences for afterwards until they were in that interrogation room, I believe, is when it finally, started to dawn on him that he might be fucked. And that finally, oh shit, she used me, she betrayed me, you know what I mean? What she's saying, though, is that he was trying to use his autism and his mental illness as an excuse to get off on the charges that he was given. And it's like, no, that is not the case. The case was the defense brought it up because of the fact they're trying to make the jury and everybody else understand that, in order to be charged lawfully, you should know right from wrong, and you should know your consequences completely. Like, if you are not able to comprehend that, then you need to have a specialized trial, I believe. And that might just be me. I don't know how that all works. But at the same time, I didn't quite like what this comment was trying to say about Nick Godejohn. What I believe is that somebody also then taking accountability off of Gypsy Rose by saying, no, Nick should have got help. Nick should have did this. Nick should have did that. When she was the one with more of a right mind in the situation. So no, she should have done that stuff. Then we've got at about 38:51.
Melissa had a vision for Gypsy Rose's life after prison, which listen, okay, I'm not trying to make any direct claims here, but if I was just going off of first impressions, yeah, maybe Melissa has, good intentions, but to the skeptics, make it feel like, she could either have gotten, just a little too close to her subject, and Gypsy Rose is considered her subject, being that she's co-authored her memoir and executive produced a show that makes Gypsy Rose, a subject as well. So is she just misspeaking, or was she doing the Hollywood, song and dance of twisting parts of the narrative a bit to pull at the heartstrings of her readers and viewers? So the allegation goes Melissa is the one who has been pushing Gypsy Rose to be an influencer. But honestly, again, Gypsy Rose is a whole grown-ass woman. I don't know why some people insist on forgetting that part of this. She is. Has she developed at a different rate? Absolutely. Two things can be true at the same time. That could be true, and she could also be a grown woman and a very articulate woman. I'm never not going to point that out.
Swoop had been talking about how people were going from loving Gypsy Rose to then realizing the kind of person that she is after, research and all that stuff.
Interferes with a person's ability to envision consequences and think ahead.
In elementary school, he was diagnosed with autism. Nick was autistic, and perhaps he was unable to form the necessary intent to commit the first degree.
A low-functioning person with autism.
Is that true specifically for Nick, or was that just a defense? I have no idea.
And after that first podcast that she went on where she said, obviously we all know, I just don't relate to a murderer. Okay, that's like a fucking butcher that cuts beef all day but doesn't relate to being a butcher. Like, are you serious? And that's probably the worst analogy.
Why would you say that?
I apologize. God. Hello. Read the room, Mel. The cards will always give you a good hand once in a while, Gypsy Rose. Don't take it for granted, because you could get a bad pair of twos here at any fucking time, bitch. But this comment says, we all gang up on a traumatized child and try to tell her how she's supposed to feel after having all that trauma. Excuse me, ma'am, what trauma are we talking about? Oh, was it the royal mashed potatoes?
Right now, I'm in Cinderella's castle eating some royal mashed potatoes.
Is that what we're talking about? Or no, I'm sorry. Was it meeting Elijah Wood? Was it going on cruises?
This is a home video of Gypsy Rose Blanchard taken by her mother Dee Dee Blanchard. Dee Dee films Gypsy as they dine in Cinderella's castle at Disney World. One of the many free trips the two receive.
I just want to know exactly what this bitch is fucking talking about, because I just don't see any straight up abuse. What I see is a mother that was taking care of a child with a chromosome disorder. Now, this is what will get you to stand behind me 100% on this whole issue with SWOOP'S video. First of all, I want us all to ask ourselves, again, who was her abuser? Because I honestly think that the only abuse that she was suffering was within her own fucking mind. I went through physical and emotional fucking abuse for 10 years of my life with my ex-husband. Literally had no way out. Literally could not leave. Had no phone. Had no car. Was locked in my home. Was held there without my wanting to be. I'm getting so upset. I have trouble talking about him because I get really upset. But I lasted with him for 10 years. I had 4 of his children. I never once let murdering him cross my mind. You know, never planned it, never thought to hire anybody. I just wanted to get me and my babies out of there safely. And thank God one day I did. But my strength and my ability and my patience all sought me out that day that I got free. And I've been free ever since. And I have a fiance now that loves the shit out of me. And I have a big fat beagle dog. And all of you guys be my friends and family, since I don't have any. You know, and I wish somebody too would think about how Dee Dee has never been able to have a voice in any of this. We just have to go off fucking bullshit gypshit's fucking word. And it's just, it's not very credible at all. So I don't even know why we have to explain all this to mainstream media. I would think that they'd want to do their own research on this bitch. But I digress. But yes, this was the part that's really, really gonna get you guys, okay? Now, at 39:39, she starts talking about the daughter of the smiley face killer, man, which is Melissa Moore.
Now, there are other factors that could also be manipulating Gypsy Rose into reframing her story after prison. Enter Melissa Moore. Now, I want to head this up by saying that these are all just allegations. It's nothing that we can prove. A lot of it is speculation. So these are theories floating around that a woman named Melissa Moore is pulling the strings for Gypsy Rose, directing her on how to navigate life as an ex-con and how to maximize the profits in the situation, and by extension, maximize her own profit. Yes, I know, but I said we're diving into multiple perspectives, okay? So here's another one that, yeah. So Melissa Moore is herself a victim. She's the daughter of the infamous smiley face killer who made appearances on Dr. Phil and Oprah as a victim advocate. Dr. Phil is a scammer, so, and she was later a correspondent on the Dr. Oz show. For he's also a scammer, so yay. Now listen, obviously doctors Phil and Oz are not Melissa. Now to some, it appears Melissa is trying to raise awareness about childhood abuse victims and the violence that can be perpetuated by your own parents.
Melissa's here today. She has a new book called Shattered Silence that Dr. Phil encouraged her to write, and I want Dr. Phil to explain a few things for us. What she was saying, I went to the prison to see my father.
But to the skeptic, because there's always a skeptic, people say Melissa is intent on climbing the Hollywood ladder, and the Gypsy Rose case had indeed caught her eye after Gypsy Rose was sentenced to prison, because Melissa reached out and asked Gypsy Rose to talk, and at first Gypsy Rose refused, but Melissa was persistent, and they would go on to have, months of phone calls and conversations from prison, which Melissa eventually turned into a book. She co-authored Gypsy Rose's memoir titled Released: Conversations on the Eve of Freedom. And that Lifetime series we've shown a few clips from, the prison confessions of Gypsy Rose. Yeah, well, Melissa Moore became an executive producer of the series. So people started to wonder, what was the intention behind her interest in Gypsy Rose?
7 years ago, I was working in daytime talk, and it was an assignment that I was given to go and see if I can secure Gypsy's interview for this daytime talk show. When I sat down to meet with her, she was not interested. She said no, and that's okay. So we sat there and just talked about regular life things, and I found her environment really fascinating. I was in a room full of other inmates, and what I found fascinating as she was sitting across from me is she started to tell me all these other inmate stories. She's like, that girl over there, she's in for killing her husband. That girl over there, she's horrible to bunk with. So I'm like, oh wow, this is like high school on steroids.
Now, when Melissa says that she was working in daytime talk, I believe she's referring to the segment that she had on the Dr. Oz show as their true crime correspondent. But during this interview, I think it's fairly clear that she feels a sense of attachment to Gypsy Rose and even a sense of obligation. Melissa says that she was disappointed when Gypsy Rose got married. Oh, by the way, Melissa says all of this right in front of ex-husband Ryan's face, which, ouch, yeah.
For me, I got really attached. I saw a vision for Gypsy that maybe wasn't her own vision, but I had a vision for Gypsy that she was going to walk out of prison, go into the safety and security of her parents' arms, and have this relationship that she never got with her parents, and that she was going to discover who she is, explore freedoms for the first time, riding a bike, driving a car, eating real food, different foods. She was eating prison food for the first time. That was her first taste of real food. It's prison food. So
I ruined her vision. I did.
Melissa had a vision for Gypsy Rose's life after prison, which listen, okay, I'm not trying to make any direct claims here, but if I was just going off of first impressions, yeah, maybe Melissa has, good intentions, but to the skeptics, make it feel like, she could either have gotten, just a little too close to her subject, and Gypsy Rose is considered her subject, being that she's co-authored her memoir and executive produced a show that makes Gypsy Rose, a subject as well. So is she just misspeaking, or was she doing the Hollywood, song and dance of twisting parts of the narrative a bit to pull at the heartstrings of her readers and viewers?
I don't think she needs to be all up Gypsy's ass about doing anything. I think it is very, very sickening that this woman just, off of the back of the sick story behind her father, she then goes after Gypsy, trying to make something out of that. And all that says to me is, you a cluck, bitch. You in it for clout. You're not in it for telling a story to push forward a positive narrative. You're not doing that. And that's fucked up to me. Why do we have to have any more sinister in Hollywood that we already do with the whole Diddy shit? You know what I'm saying? That's a sick motherfucker right there. But, oh yeah, and at 42:31, there's this part that's the literal level of her maturity because of her chromosome disorder. Like I said before, her chromosome disorder was the root of the cause of everything that she ever had to have done in her life. That her mom might have embellished the wheelchair thing. She might have embellished even maybe a few other things. But maybe she was dealing with her own health at the same time too. And dealing with Gyp Dip. And trying to just keep it together. We can't we can't really judge her, I don't think, fairly, because she's never been given a voice. She can't. Gypsy took that right from her, you know? But anyway, I'm sorry, Melissa, but Gypsy's story is not what you should be trying to exploit. We're not going to continuously believe your lies. We're not going to continuously feed into your bullshit. It was only a matter of time before it got brought to light. But what really got me, too, is so yeah, and then at 44, 54, we all know she wanted this, but we don't think that she should have it. And we're growing as a community as more and more people start to realize who she really is. We have more and more people coming over to our community. At the same time, we just believe that Gypsy Rose should have never, in the first place, ever had this big of a following or had people up her ass. To me, this is such a romanticizing of a situation that is just horrible. It's unbelievably wrong to me. Then this doctor at 4923, this doctor here actually diagnosed Dee Dee, like Becca Scoop says in one of her videos too. He actually diagnosed Dee Dee while she was deceased upon only the words of Gypsy Rose. How can you do that? How can you diagnose someone off of what you've been told by someone else? That does not make any fucking sense to me. I don't even know why our society would allow that without laughing in this dude's fucking face. Man, it's just baffling to me. It's like, what, he got on here trying to look smart with his bald ass, put his glasses on and said, you know what, I'm going to get him to believe it somehow.
Live that she potentially had Munchausen syndrome by proxy and, made notes of it before the act, but it was never pursued. So it's still just speculation. But the majority of the world has just gone ahead and run with that diagnosis of her mother. And yeah, but then you have folks like Dr. Mark Feldman, a psychology consultant for the HBO documentary series Mommy, Dead and Dearest, who diagnosed Dee Dee with Munchausen syndrome by proxy despite having never met the Blanchards.
I gotta start from the beginning here. The Munchausen syndrome by proxy, how did that develop in Dee Dee Blanchard? I'm sure every case is a little bit different, but what did you see here that's maybe unique?
Well, Dee Dee seems to have grown up as a rather entitled young woman. She is one of multiple siblings, but was the youngest and was favored, it seems like, by the parents. She did get entitled as a result, felt that people should reach out to her, provide her with gifts, benefits. She got a car early on when her siblings didn't. And that entitlement and possible history of being medicalized by her own mother in a pattern that could be Munchausen by proxy, I think predisposed her to this sort of behavior.
And he was compensated for his appearance. I mean, the media took this informal diagnosis and just ran with it, and so did much of the world.
And then at 50-45, can a child really be a master manipulator?
If somehow Dee Dee didn't actually have MSBP, the implication of that is, to some people, is that Gypsy Rose was somehow in on the manipulation. But she was a child for much of this, so do we think that a child is capable of being a master manipulator in that regard? I'm sure there are some mental health situations but even that, it's just complicated, okay? I'm just gonna leave that one for you.
And I believe that if the tendencies are there already, then very much so, yes. They can also learn their very master manipulation from someone, and obviously Gypsy Rose learned how to become a master manipulator from the fraud and stuff like that her mom was already doing. She learned that. She played a part. And very well, in fact. I mean, that bitch should have got an Oscar for some of her performances. I swear to God. Then she totally stops there. This is what really fucking pissed me off. She goes on to bring up the chromosome disorder.
1.1. My Gypsy Rose Blanchard was not abused. This is the chromosome disorder that she has. It's 1q21.1, microdeletion. This is the poster child for this chromosome disorder. And let me show you with this poster child next to Gypsy Rose Blanchard. This is the poster child of this chromosome disorder, and this is Gypsy Rose Blanchard to the right of me, the left of you, while she was in prison. Doesn't she look like that little girl's twin? These are the symptoms of this chromosome disorder, which is intellectual disabilities, developmentally delayed, poor growth, weak muscle tone, seizures. If you look through it, it tells you a whole lot more. These were all of the issues that her mom had addressed. Now, I will say her mom embellished it because the wheelchair was for the weak muscle tone. So basically, it's kind of like a stroller with a baby or a toddler. When they get weak, they get in the stroller. But instead, her mom embellished it, and she embellished it too, which is why she was in the wheelchair for most of the time. Gypsy Rose Blanchard went to Disney World and all these other places. Her mom gave her basically a pretty good life on a bare budget. She didn't have the money. She pandered to get whatever she wanted to get for Gypsy. Now you're probably like, Nina, how do you know that she has this? Well, it's in her medical records. Yeah, when you talk about medical records, it's there. But also her dad said that. So let's watch that.
They had done some tests and found out she had a chromosome disorder that was causing all of her functions from developing, her digestive system and her muscular system.
At one time in her interrogation, did she ever mention abuse? Why is that? In fact, watch part of this interrogation and listen to what she has to say.
Get rid of my mom.
Yeah, for you.
Yes, for me.
Yeah, because you asked him to.
He wanted to.
Yeah, because you asked him to. Plain and simple. Gypsy, we're not playing this game, okay? You asked him to. That's why he did it, okay? Plain and simple. We're not playing this game. I'm not spending all my night long listening to your lies anymore. You told me the truth on some things, but you left a lot of stuff out. You left a lot of stuff out. So we're not playing this game, okay? He's already told me everything. Everything. The knife was mailed. You guys mailed it here, okay? We know where the knife's at. So the gig's up. You're done. It's up. You're done. You're done. You hated your mom?
I did not hate my mom. I did not hate my mom. I loved my mom. And
you would have never done this to your mom.
He needs to tell you that I've been having
zero accountability. She's blaming him.
He said that.
Not I've been abused and that's why I did this.
Did he tell you that?
Yep. Yep.
I said that it was a bad thought that I was thinking and
Swoop did, right? And then just says, without any research, without any, statement on anything or any videos that to put up that might bring an audience over to our community of people. No, she just says that she doesn't want to speak on the disorder that Gypsy Rose does have. And there's clips to prove that. I mean, it's just stupid. And then she goes on to say that she's not going to speculate on that. She's not going to talk about that. And then the whole rest of the video is on the Hollywood type drama that Gypsy Rose has been involved in since the last time that Swoop did a video on her. And I'm very fucking disappointed as somebody who calls herself a docu-series artist where she writes these documentaries that are supposed to be phenomenal, and she has done it for every other fucking case she's done one on. But yet the Gypsy Rose case, why? Because she's got so many followers, she's got so many subscribers, we're not going to stand against her. Well, guess what, bitch? I fucking will. And I know that my community of people will too. And I guess that means that that's the end of my road following her, because that is some bullshit to me. That really pissed me the fuck off. You could have gone into extensive detail. You could have talked to doctors about it. You could have put the clip on there of Gypsy Rose's own father claiming she's got this disorder. She's got this chromosome deletion, whatever it is, disorder. I don't remember the name of it. Excuse me. But yeah, that just really, really upset me. So at that point, I turned the video off. I couldn't watch it anymore. The shit that people need to be talking about and need to be referring to is the important shit. The important facts that are going to help people understand that you're supporting a fucking huge rat. A big old possum with a pregnant belly. That's what you're fucking supporting. Stop it right fucking now. And then her stepmother, the raccoon, or Krusty the Crab, whatever you fucking want to call it. I am just like, I'm about ready to lose my shit, Jep. I'm gonna fucking have to go and do some meditations after this video now, because I am really getting to the point where now all these other creators that aren't telling the real story, that aren't trying to find out the truth, that are trying to tell Gypsy Rose's story, are only harming us, because then we have to fight harder to try to bring forward the truth. You know what I mean? It's stupid and it pisses me off. Oh, but all of you guys, I love you with all my damn heart. I hope you come back for more. Subscribe, like, share this. But I just thank you guys again for being here. I love you. I'll get out of your hair.